sir.
Welcome back to the press room. I'm your host, Cooper Shepard, joined by, as always, my co-host and good friend, Nathan Bressel.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow, the NBA season starts, so we here with our NBA.
Tomorrow?
It's tomorrow, right?
Oh, wow.
I'm being serious.
No, I thought it was Thursday.
No, it's tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Tuesday. That's
Well,
why we got to
I know
record
what I'm doing
today.
tomorrow then.
But tomorrow is the NBA season. I hope I'm right on that now.
I guess we'll find
We'll
out.
fact check after the episode. Anyways, so yeah, this is going to be our NBA preseason predictions, awards, teams. We're going to get to all of it.
Yes, sir.
Right
here.
Let's get into actually before we get into the basketball, because we didn't do a football episode. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Ohio State, Penn State, and the biggest mid-off that I've seen this season.
I wouldn't call it a mid-off. I would call it a battle of two very
Terrible
good
offenses.
football teams who are not as good on offense as they normally are. A lot of people had this game under the 44.5 line, which it ended up being. So I don't think it was a big surprise that there wasn't a lot of points scored. But overall, defense played great. 1 for 16 versus Penn State on third downs. That's kind of basically what won Ohio State the game. Defense looked great. Offense was okay. We made plays when we had to. Obviously, we missed Emeka. We missed our number one running back, and our number one cover corner was out. So I'd say beating a team and covering the spread with 3 of our top 7 players out of the game is a pretty good win. Penn State's always going to be tough. Drew Aller didn't look great, but our defense kind of shut down what's been rolling for Penn State, which is their run game. They don't really have any good receivers. So we stopped their run game and forced Drew Aller to do stuff, and he couldn't do it. So that's kind of what summed up the game for Penn State and Ohio State.
There was one takeaway I had after this game, and it was, when is it time for James Franklin to go? Because I feel like he's been there my whole childhood. He's been there for a long time, obviously.
10 years.
And he can't seem to win the big games. He wins just enough, but he can't ever seem to win the big games.
I think there was a stat that he's 0-9 all-time versus top 5 opponents as a head coach at Penn State. And I think it was like 1-15 against top 10 teams on the road or something like that. It was something cool. But there's always a big difference between Ohio State, Michigan, and then the rest of the Big Ten. And it's always been like that. And Penn State, it's the same thing every year. Oh, we've got the hype. Oh, we lose to Ohio State. Oh, we win the Rose Bowl because Ohio State's in the playoffs, so we look good. Oh, we go into the offseason with some hype. Like, Drew Aller's the guy, he's a Heisman. Oh, no, we lose to Ohio State and Michigan. Like, it's the same thing every year. So, I mean, Penn State's a good football team, but that's really it. They're a good football team. They're a top 10 team. They'll go to the Rose Bowl or go to a big bowl game and win.
It's just Penn State.
Yeah, like, they're a good team. They're just not elite yet. So.
Yeah. All right, let's get into basketball. We're going to give you our MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, Defensive Player of the Year, and Sixth Man of the Year before we give you our conference, I don't know what to call it, standings.
Yeah, sure.
And then a couple bullet points I wanted to get into after that. But first, let's get into MVP. Who is your NBA Most Valuable Player?
It's hard not to take Nikola Jokic here, so I'm going to just go with him. I think he'll win this year, win 3 of the last 4 if he does. My second pick, if I couldn't pick Jokic, I would go Giannis. I think the pickup with Dame is going to elevate Giannis's game. I think he can get back to that level, so I'd pick Giannis. And then third overall, I would pick Luka.
Okay. I have the same exact 3. I'm picking Jokic just because he's the best player on the best team. He should have won it last year, if we're being honest, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can make a good case for it. It's a toss-up.
Nikola Jokic is the most valuable player to his team in the NBA.
I would agree.
And he has been for the last 3 years, so he should have won it last year. And he's going to win it this year. So 3 of the last 4. Obviously, Giannis is up there, one of the best players in the league on what should be one of the best teams. The Bucks are good. Well, if not, they'll be good. But so it's going to be him and Giannis, and then I have Luka also. But I feel like if the Mavs are good, he's not necessarily going to be the MVP because there is Kyrie there, and if they are good, it's going to take both of them.
Yeah, and I want to hit on that a little bit. Dallas and Milwaukee are very similar teams in my opinion, just because they're so superstar loaded that if one of them go down or one of them isn't performing, they don't have the depth in my opinion, to make a run. Like, let's say Dame goes out for a short period of time, 7-8 games, right?
Yeah.
Who's the guy after that? Like
Chris Middleton.
Brook Lopez, like, okay.
I mean,
like same thing with Luke and Kyrie. Like, they don't have. I don't think Milwaukee or Dallas have enough depth.
I'm taking Milwaukee's depth over Dallas.
Agreed, but
you still have Bobby Portis there.
Yeah,
like
they're a good team, but they lost a lot of a lot of guys in that trade. Like Grayson Allen was a valuable guy. Drew Holiday, obviously, we know what he does.
Yeah.
Like, they lost some guys. So if something happens with even if they lose guys that are like bench pieces,
yeah,
who are they going to sign?
I think Dallas is really screwed if they lose one of them too. Because like, who do they even have?
Tim Hardaway.
I already think that if Derek Lively's not their guy, they're screwed anyways because Dwight Powell is terrible.
Oh, he's buns.
He is the worst starting center in the NBA. So I think a big piece for Dallas is him as well.
Yeah.
If Derek Lively, he needs to step up and be their guy because Dwight Powell ain't it.
Yeah. And there's tons of teams like that in the NBA, but those are the two that really stand out to me. Now, I'm not saying Milwaukee can't make a run because we'll talk about them a little bit later in the podcast when we get into our standings and stuff like that, but you see these teams that make it to the championship game, and the Miami Heat, like last year, a really good team with a lot of depth, and they play well together. Same thing with the Nuggets. They have a star who they run through, but they've got a lot of guys that work together well around him. Like Bruce Brown, that's why he got that bag, because he was just a guy for them that played well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, but ultimately, back to MVP, like Jokic, Giannis, and then my dark horse is Shea. Like, if the Thunder can be a top 4 team in the West, like some people think they can be, like JJ Redick said, like, Shea's going to be the guy who leads them there, so Shea could easily be an MVP guy at the end of the year.
I agree, and I would. Oh my God, I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I think because. Oh, I'll go to the Thunder later. We'll talk about that later. Next up, Rookie of the Year. I think this is very obvious. It's either going to be Chet or Wemby. I would say 90% of people would say that.
I 100% agree.
I'm going to go with Chet, not only because my Thunder bias, but because I'm not sold on the fact that Wemby can play a full season.
Yep.
Like, he's just so, I don't know, I just look at him and he just looks fragile.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, I mean, if he plays full season, then he may win it. But
I was going to say the exact same thing. I'm going to take Chet as well, but not just because Wemby seems fragile, but because I could see the Spurs being in a position late in the year that they don't want him to get hurt, so they end up sitting because of the position they're in as a non-playoff team, like the Thunder did a couple years ago with Shea and Dort.
Yeah.
They had some nagging injuries. They sat them the rest of the year. Like, hey, let's just forget about it. Let's move on. So, personally, like you said, I don't see Wemby playing all 82, and that could be because of injury, rest, or just not being good, and then the last 10 games really just not playing.
And now you have to play 65 games. So if Chet doesn't play 65 and Wemby doesn't play 65, they can't win it. Mm-hmm. And then it's whoever's next up. But
after that, I don't really know. I guess Scoot's the main guy, but like
Brandon Miller,
maybe. Like, it's kind of open.
I don't know, but it's definitely going to be one of these two guys, in my opinion, if they do play all the games.
I agree. I think we're both on Chet there.
Most improved player, I put 3 candidates. I'll give you my 3, then you can give me your 3, and we'll give you our choice.
Okay.
My 3 I put was Paolo Banchero, Jordan Poole, and Mikal Bridges.
Okay, I like that. I wrote down Josh Giddey, Anthony Edwards, and Mikal Bridges were my 3.
Okay, so I'm gonna go Jordan Poole here.
Okay.
I put Paolo just because obviously he was a rookie. He averaged 20 points.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Like, I like that. I had him down too.
And I could see he's still obviously the guy on that team, so I could see him averaging, I don't know, 25, 26 points this year. Mm-hmm. And then Mikal, obviously, he's the main guy on the Nets, and we saw what he did last year when he was on the Nets. He was scoring 30 a game, like, when it's just him, and
yeah,
I mean, he can. I didn't know he could score like that, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So that's why I put him on there. But I'm going with Jordan Poole first of all because obviously he's on a new team, new reset. He's going to be the guy, and he is a shot chucker. He is not afraid to take the contested shot when he's got a man open. He's going to score.
That clip with Danny Avdija the other day when he was just like
waving
his hand up in the
That's what
air.
I'm saying. Like, Poole's going to score. He's gonna shoot.
He's got the keys to the wagon.
He's gonna make the highlights. Yeah. Like,
it's his team.
So I'm going Jordan Poole, most improved player, and I don't know what his stats were last year, but I'm gonna say he averaged at least 25 this year.
Yeah. The only reason I don't think I put him in my top 3 is because, like, I feel like he will obviously have an uptick in scoring, but how efficient will he be? Sure, he's going to take a lot of shots, but how many of those will he be making, right? So that's kind of why I was iffy about him. But ultimately, between my three of Giddey, Anthony Edwards, and Mikal, I like Anthony Edwards. I think the Timberwolves could be a top 4 or 5 seed this year, but I feel like there's not as much ceiling to go up than there is Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to ultimately take Josh Giddey. I feel like the Thunder are really going to be good this year. I think we're going to be a top 6 seed, and I think, like I just said, behind Shea being the MVP, I think a guy like Josh Giddey, who's going to be a little, like, not slept on, but, like, kind of forgotten about with Chet and all these guys coming in. I feel like Giddey is really going to be a guy who takes that next step, especially scoring the ball, getting into the paint, finishing drives, who will see an uptick in points per game, maybe 5, 6, 7 more points a game average-wise, maybe get up to that 20-ish level, because he's been floating around 14, 15, 16, so maybe get to that 2021 level. And I really feel like Giddey, if the Thunder are going to be good, Giddey's got the most room to grow, too. So I'm going to pick Josh Giddey as my most improved.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you on the Anthony Edwards, just because I don't know what his stats were last year, but I feel like
he averaged 24, 25.
And I don't think you can. I thought it was like 26, but either way. Like how much more can you really improve?
Yeah.
You have Cat, you have Jade McDaniels, so they just got a bag. Yeah. Like you have these good guys, and I just feel like you can't.
Yeah, that's why I ultimately picked Giddey, is just because like I feel like his ceiling is a little bit higher as far as growth.
Yeah, improvement, literally.
Edwards. Yeah.
But I'm curious on your thought about Giddey, because I feel like with Josh Giddey, or with the Oklahoma City Thunder, we don't have a clear-cut number 2. It could be Dort one night, it could be Shea one night, it could be Jada one night, or it could be Chet one night. Like, these are all dudes that are going to, like, perform. So, like, do you think Giddey's going to be consistently, like, that number 2 guy where he's going to be scoring 20 points?
My hope is yes. But do I see it playing out? Not necessarily. I think the Thunder are a better team when they're all sharing the ball and it's a different guy every night behind Shea.
Correct.
But ultimately, I do feel like Giddey will be that guy, but I just don't know how much. That's why I'm a little like this was the hardest pick for me out of all the picks we're making.
Because with Chet coming back as well, he could
Chet's a guy.
He could very well stay at 14 points, but be more efficient because he's shooting it less, but he's still shooting it better. He's still getting 7 assists, 7 rebounds.
Yeah.
But because we have literally 4 guys, and I'm saying Dort's the worst scorer out of the starting 5.
Oh yeah, I agree.
We have 4 guys, 4 behind Shea that could be 25-point scores.
Yeah, I mean,
literally any night.
We saw J-Dub score at the end of the season last year. He was putting up 20, 21 a game pretty consistently.
Yeah.
So, like you said, I feel like Giddey will be that guy that ends up being the number 2 option. I just don't know how much of that is going to be likely. But also, I like the Thunder when we do have a different guy every night, just because it makes the team better overall. And some guys have good nights, some guys have bad nights. We're going to have injuries. Like, every team goes through it, right? So we'll see what happens. But ultimately, I'm a big believer in Giddey, and I feel like he's still 21. He just turned 21. It's his third year in the league.
Yeah.
I just think he's got so much potential.
Yeah, and I love, out of behind Shea, Giddey has my favorite game out of the dudes on the Thunder.
Yeah.
Because he scores, he gets assists, and he rebounds. And his court vision, if you don't know basketball, you don't realize his court vision, like the way he passes the ball, bro, it's insane.
It's insane, bro.
Like he just sees things that a lot of people just don't see, and the passes he makes are crazy.
Yeah, he's just so much more valuable than I feel like a lot of people see. And I think a lot of this work he did this summer, which he talked about a little bit with Team Australia, was getting to the rim and finishing and getting to the free throw line. So I feel like we'll see a lot of that from Giddey this year as well. A lot more drives, a lot more shots in the paint, like stuff that he already does, but just maybe a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I like it. All right, defensive player of the year. I put Jaren. Obviously, he's the reigning defensive player of the year. Evan Mobley and Anthony Davis.
Cool. I had Walker Kessler, Evan Mobley, and Triple J.
Kessler was on there for me also, but I ended up putting Anthony Davis instead because I think if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, he's obviously in that conversation. I haven't made my pick right at the second. Go ahead.
I'm going to pick Evan Mobley. He finished third last year. I think this is his year that he steps up, really. Cavs are a good team. Like, sure, the East is, I would say, weaker overall compared to the West, so I could definitely see the Cavs. We'll talk about all the teams later, but Cavs are going to be a team that's competing.
Yeah.
Mobley is already really a big force down low, and defensively and blocks and everything like that. So it was a toss up between Kessler and Mobley. I just think Mobley's going to get the upper hand just because he's on a better team. So
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Anthony Davis is gonna win the Defensive Player of the Year.
okay,
I'm only saying that because if he doesn't stay healthy, obviously it's not gonna happen.
mm-hmm.
So that has to happen first.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which
He's got to stay on
hasn't
the
happened
court.
recently. So obviously that's got to happen first. But if he plays 70, 80 games, like he'll definitely be in the conversation.
I like it.
Sixth man of the year, I put Emmanuel Quickley, Malcolm Brogdon, who is newly a Trailblazer, and then Bobby Portis.
Okay. I had only two for this one that really stood out to me: Emmanuel Quickley and Chris Paul.
Is Chris Paul not going to start?
I don't think so.
I could see it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say Malcolm Brogdon, because there's nobody that I can think of at the top of my head.
Yeah.
That is gonna come off the bench. Who's the Trailblazers bench? Like, they have no depth.
Robert Williams
He's gonna start.
with DeAndre Ayton.
They do have Ayton. Yeah.
I don't really know. Like,
Yeah.
they're just a toss up right now.
I'm gonna go Brogdon because they have Shaden, and then they have Scoot, who's gonna be obviously be the starters.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Brogdon.
Yeah, I like that. It's gonna be hard to know what their roles are so early on. I'm gonna go Chris Paul just because I do feel like he won't start, and I say this because I think it'll be Curry, Wiggins, Clay, Draymond, and Looney. I think that's the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the 5, and then I think CP3 will be the 6. If that doesn't happen, I'll obviously take Quickly, but I just feel like CP3 is going to be the guy. We all know what he does. Like, he's just a big impact on the game. He's good. Like, he's gonna play well.
Bro, it is crazy to think that you could have your bench unit being run by Chris Paul. Like, that's kind of scary to think about.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know who their bench is. Gary Payton. Like, who else do they have? Either way, like,
I don't think
when
it matters.
when you have somebody with that much basketball knowledge and that high of a basketball IQ coming off the bench for you,
yeah,
like, that's
and time's a ticking for all those guys on the Warriors.
Yeah, you should be.
So
they should have no worries whenever Curry and Clay are not in there.
No, yeah, I mean Chris Paul. We've seen it when he plays against the Thunder. He always hits shots too. Like,
yeah,
Chris Paul is like low-key an underrated scorer at this age of his game, but like,
bro,
he can make some shots. Like,
bro, he has a crazy midi. His midi is just get to the spot, shot, it's in every time. We saw that when he was on the Thunder, so consistently. But not only that, he just makes the right decision, like, all the time.
Yeah.
Like, going from Jordan Poole, who is just going to shot chuck these crazy shots when you don't need them at the most random times, to somebody with the IQ of Chris Paul who's going to make the right decision, make the pass, shoot when he needs to shoot. Like, that's a huge upgrade for the Warriors.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do like that pick.
I'm taking him.
I wrote my 1 through 8 seed for the East and the West. I'll just kind of go. You want me to list all 8?
I just did my top 4.
Okay. For the East, I'll just give you. I'm gonna give you my whole 8. I put Bucks 1, Celtics 2, Sixers 3, Cavs 4. You can give me your East 4, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. My East 4, I had Boston 1, Milwaukee 2, 76ers 3, Cavs 4.
Okay, so we have the same.
Yeah, we just flipped Milwaukee and Boston.
Oh, you put Boston at 1?
Yep.
Okay. I think it's going to be this too either way. I wasn't decided on that either, but, like, if the Bucks are not a top 3 seed, I'd be very disappointed.
Oh, yeah. If they're not a top 3, if Boston's not a top 3, those two and everybody else is really what it is for me.
Yeah. 76ers. I was kind of hesitant on this because this is why I asked you before we record, like, did they add anything? Like,
not that I can really
it's going to be... Is Harden... Like, what's the deal with Harden?
We've talked about it.
Like, is he going to play? Like, what's the deal? Because if not, then my most improved player is going to be Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
Oh, yeah.
So, I need to know what the deal with Harden is.
Yeah. I don't think anyone knows at this point either. Like,
But at the same time, like, if he's not playing, I really don't think it hurts them that much.
I think they'll find a way around it. They're a good enough team.
Because I'm taking Embiid and Maxey as scores over him anyways.
Yeah.
So they can find somebody to fill in and do what.
Tobias will step up. Like
Yeah.
they've got capable guys. It's just gonna be they're gonna have to fill those gaps and make that happen. But yeah, like you said, I think they will miss James Harden, but not like.
Yeah, like they're not relying on him to score 30 points a game.
Exactly.
And then Cavs, they're just a solid team that's going to be there, and they are what they are. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Mobley, obviously, like we talked about, and then Jared Allen. West, my top four, I put Nuggets, 1. I think they're the best team in the NBA, obviously, as of right now. Phoenix Suns at 2. This is where people are going to probably disagree with me. I put the Clippers at 3. Only because, again, like I do with AD, I'm banking on them to stay healthy. If Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both healthy for 80 games, and then they have Russell Westbrook, who seemed to find a groove whenever he went to the Clippers. Mm-hmm. So if you have two guys that are terrific scorers, terrific defenders, then you have Russell Westbrook. Like, I just don't see. And a lot of people talk about how bad Westbrook is, but, like, I think he fits in perfectly with the Clippers. So if those two guys can stay healthy, I really do think they'll be up there.
Okay.
And then I put Warriors at 4.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the Clippers. What if they don't get it done this year?
Then it needs to be done. It's over.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think so. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, we've seen the experiment. We obviously all know the Thunder have all these picks and pick swaps, and like, what have the Clippers done with that? Like, been to the conference semifinals?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
When is it time to cut the cord a little bit? So, like you said, the Clippers are in need of a big year.
Yeah.
Badly.
So what would you for the Los Angeles Clippers? What would you consider keeping the team together or blowing it up? As in, like, how far do you have to get? Like, conference finals?
I think it also depends on if they stay healthy. Like, if Kawhi is out for half the year and Paul George plays 2/3 of the year, and you make the or the Western Conference semis, like, if I'm the Clippers, it's like,
yeah,
like, we're good, but like,
okay, so what if Kawhi and Paul George play 80 games and they make the conference finals and then lose? Do you blow it up or do you try again?
No, I think that's an okay year because the West is tough.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's an okay year. Anything less than that, you've got to consider blowing it up.
So what do you do?
New stadium, new rebuild, like,
after investing all of this stuff into Paul George. Like, bro, imagine if they had kept Shea at this point right now.
And he was as good as he is.
Yeah.
They'd be good. They'd be a top 4 team in the league.
Like, Shea and Kawhi sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kawhi probably wouldn't be there at that point, but just hypothetically speaking, like, yeah, the Clippers have got to. Bro, I'm really rooting for Russell Westbrook this year.
Yeah.
Like, we saw what he did at the tail end of last year when he kind of got a new city, got a new team, kind of got into a groove.
The West this year, to me, the West is always tougher than the East, usually, and it has been the past couple of years. There are 3 very desperate teams this year in the West, in my opinion, that need badly something good to happen. The Lakers, the Clippers, and the Warriors. Because time's ticking on all of those guys.
Yeah.
Like, and one of them's not going to end up in that spot. Like, 2 of them could not end up in that spot. Yeah. And those 3 teams are like, hey, we've got 1-2 year gap window maybe left to do this thing. And I think the most desperate out of all those that haven't tasted success is the Clippers. So
I think the Warriors.
Calling out the Clippers there.
I think the Warriors are done. I don't think they're going to get there again.
I like the Warriors though.
I
can't bet against them.
I think the West is too good. I mean, I don't think they're getting back there.
I'll do my top 5 or 6 here.
I put the Warriors at 4, by the way.
I'm at 3.
But I don't. What do you have the Clippers at?
6.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't think the Warriors are going to get it done again. I think their time has passed.
I have Denver, Phoenix, Golden State, Sacramento, Lakers, Clippers, Thunder. That's 7.
Bro, I didn't even put the Kings in here. I completely
I have the Kings at 4. I just think they're a good. They're like the Cavs to me for the East. Like they're just a really good team.
So you didn't have the Mavs making it?
Not in my top 7.
Okay, so who's you picking 8 seed?
Mavs. I don't know. I didn't think about it. I was more focused on top 4, but I'd have to look at all the teams again in my head. Probably the Grizzlies or the Mavs and the Pelicans.
Okay, so
and the Timberwolves.
I put
any of those 4.
I'm saying
like any of those 4 really.
Like I put Nuggets, Suns, Clippers, Warriors as my top 4, and then I have Mavs, Thunder.
There's going to be a really good team left out of the play-in, let alone the playoffs, the play-in in the West.
Yeah, and then I have Mavs, Thunder, Lakers, Wolves. Completely didn't even think about the Kings. But, bro, with how the West is, I am so torn on who to put in here. Like, I completely left the Kings out, and I'm like...
I could see Golden State being a 6.
Yeah, I could too. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, who do I take out for the Kings? Because the Kings...
Yeah. But also, for me, Golden State is not one of those teams that really cares about seeding. When the playoffs come on, like... It's Golden State. Like,
yeah, correct. I think the Warriors are going to be in either way.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm just like, bro, like, you have the, like, do I take the Lakers out?
Exactly. It's a toss-up. There's so many different variables also, and I think it just comes down to health.
Because I'm like, no way the Kings don't make it, right?
No, I think they're a top 14.
So the Mavs it's either going to be the Mavs don't make it, and what do? Blow everything up.
They don't have anything to blow up.
Kyrie and Luka. I mean, I guess Luka will be staying there, but they'll get rid of Kyrie. Or I don't know what they would do, honestly. But it's either going to be the Mavs don't make it, the Lakers don't make it, the Wolves don't make it, potentially the Thunder. I'm like considering the Thunder making it.
I think they will. I think they're the 7 seed.
I'm saying so either the Mavs, Lakers, Wolves, or Kings aren't going to make it.
Or Pelicans.
I completely forgot about the Pelicans too. Like, bro, there's gonna be some good
Grizzlies.
teams that don't make. Yeah. Again, bro, like the West is stacked, bro.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm definitely a lot more confident in my East than my West.
Yeah,
for sure.
There's too many dogs in the West, bro.
Yeah, but going into our next segment, like most to prove, we talked about players, but I think the most to prove is the Clippers as far as a team. Like they've got to show up this year.
100%.
They've got to show up.
There's not a team in the NBA that has more to prove than the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah. You could also put Lakers in there just because LeBron's getting old, and if they want to win it, they need to do it now.
Yeah.
But a Clippers for sure.
Yeah, Clippers have the most to prove out of any team in our NBA lifetime.
So who are the players you put down for this?
Ben Simmons for obvious reasons. Okay, so I put 4 players right now. The players who have the most to prove: Ben Simmons, Cade Cunningham, because he's been hurt. Everybody talks about how good he is, what he can be, but has he done it? No. So we'll see if he does it. And they have a decent team where they could. I mean, like they have a good enough team. The Pistons have a good enough team where if all these guys are what they're supposed to be, they could make the playoffs. But like that's a lot to ask.
Yeah, for that young, yeah.
Like you have Cade Cunningham, you just got Asar, you have Jaden Ivey, who I really like. You have James Wiseman, you have Jalen Duren,
Bagley,
guys, but
yeah.
Will they perform? I don't know. And then I put James Harden, but I kind of take that back because I don't think he has anything to prove. Like we know, like nobody cares about James Harden anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take that back, and then I put Westbrook.
Okay.
Because Russell Westbrook, not that he has anything to prove, but almost that he has something to prove if he wants to like that he belongs, like he is still a top
that he can be a
player
like
in
a
this
top
league,
player on the team,
yeah,
team.
Exactly,
yeah,
and he can contribute to that.
Okay.
So I guess that goes along with the Clippers also.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that's what I put down as one of mine is Kawhi and PG. But obviously we've talked about them. So the main player I had though, Zion.
I like it.
We've got to see Zion do something, bro. Like stay on the court, be healthy, play well, but like I don't expect him to be 28 and all this stuff. Like
dude, whenever
be on a good team and play every night. That's what I want Zion to see. That's what I want to see from Zion.
Whenever Zion Williamson is healthy, he is a top 15 player in the league.
Yeah.
Like
and he's
consistently.
shown he can play. Like he's shown he can play. He puts up numbers. He plays well. He holds his own. Like he's a good player. It's just He's got to do it consistently, and he can't do it.
You got to stay healthy, and you got to stop worrying about Mariah Mills, and you got to just. I know.
He's not worried about her. I think she's worried about him.
He's something else that could fuck him up is he's gonna have a kid during the NBA season. Yeah. So he has a lot.
He's got some maturity.
As a 22-year-old, whatever he is, he's got a lot to think about in his world. But you got to perform, bro.
Yeah, we've got to see him on the floor. That's just the main thing for him. We got to see him. The next one I had kind of go together. Lakers are a team that I've talked a little bit about. I've got it. You like AD this year. I need AD to do something, bro.
That's again. You have to stay healthy.
It all comes down to. Your strongest ability is availability, and a lot of these guys just can't play and can't stay on the floor. Like, the Lakers have this much left in the tank, and they've got a good bench this year. They've kept guys like Vanderbilt and Rui and all these guys, and they've got to stay healthy. And this is one of the last years they can really do it.
Yeah.
So AD is the key to that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all I got. Those are my two.
There was something I wanted to say after that, but I completely forgot my train of thought. But let's talk about the Thunder a little bit because obviously this is like, how long have you been? How long have you been here in Oklahoma?
I moved here in 2017.
How long have you really been like a Thunder fan?
I would say I really got into it in like 2019.
Okay, so you haven't seen like us really like this is the most hype season.
Yeah, I've been to playoff games like back with Russ and Dame was there and Dame screwed us and I was at the game where we came back from 25 down and all that stuff. But I wasn't like a true fan. But I would say my first year was Baisley's rookie year that I was really really into it.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever Thunder fans, obviously Thunder moved here when I was a kid and I've been a fan ever since. Whenever Thunder fans think about the good old days, it's Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, packed Chesapeake Energy Arena, just going insane. And I think we could have that this year. If the Thunder perform how I think they can, and I think there's a chance they will, 5-6 seed, and we make it past the first round of the playoffs, that arena is going to be like something you've never seen before.
I am ready for some Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playoff moments.
Bro.
Nothing would excite me more. Nothing would get me more bricked up than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playoff himmy moments, bro. Dude, just going off on somebody, bro.
Like, bro, just imagine. Like, I vividly remember, if you're a Thunder fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. Playoffs versus the Lakers 2013, I don't even know. Westbrook, just insane back and forth. Westbrook is running to one-on-one fast break. He gets fouled at the three-point line, just throws that shit up and it goes in. That's the loudest Chesapeake Arena has ever been. Like, bro, the joy that Russell Westbrook brought to this city is like I don't know if we'll ever see that again because of what he did whenever he was an MVP. But like, God, I just want to go to a packed Paycom Arena and just watch the Thunder.
Those playoff games that I went to, I've been to 3. Loud,
bro.
So loud, bro.
Bro, it's and Thunder fans, like the last couple of years, like we used to be a team where our arena was sold out every single night, and obviously it hasn't been like that probably since you've been here, or at least the last 3 years. I think, let's say All-Star break, we're like a top 5, top 6. That arena will be full every night.
I would hope so.
So I haven't been this hyped for the Thunder season in a long time. Like last year, okay, we're supposed to win 20 games, whatever. We were mid. I mean, we were way better than we're supposed to be, but like,
yeah, expectations were met.
Like this year we have like we got to be in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think I'm most excited, just like you said, to go to games. Hopefully there to be energy. I'm also just really excited to see like a complete lineup. I feel like we haven't had a complete lineup where I've gone into a year and been like
you're just
this is a winning roster.
Yeah, usually it's like, okay, we're missing this aspect of the game and we're missing this aspect of the game.
Yeah.
So.
And I think we fixed our biggest hole, which for me
Chet.
last year was rim defense, and Chet is a guy at the rim.
Yeah.
And I love watching him play.
Yeah.
So.
And he can shoot
Mm-hmm.
He can score from everywhere on the floor.
Yep.
He plays defense everywhere on the floor, not just under the goal, but on the perimeter. And I'm so excited for this season,
I can't
bro.
wait to. Chet's like. I love watching Shea play. I love watching Thunder games, but I can't wait to watch Chet play this year. It'll be so much fun.
Do you think Shea? Do you think? Okay, I'm assuming the answer is yes. How far down does Shea's scoring go? Because he's not going to average 33 again with what we have.
I think he's a 28-ish type guy.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Just wondering.
Yeah, 28.
I think that's about all I have for NBA. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover, but
yeah, that's all I can think of. I mean, besides any of the roster cuts you want to talk about, but
my guy Keon Johnson getting cut. I just learned that you told me.
Oh yeah,
this. I was very.
Keon did get cut.
I don't understand that, bro. I feel like he's a decent bench guy.
Yeah, our schedule at home for the Thunder is tough to start off. I'll mention that we have Denver first home game.
Yeah,
and we have Pistons, which is worst team in the East probably. But then we have the Cavs, the Hawks, and like the Pelicans all within like the next week. Some pretty decent teams. Like those are all playoff type teams.
Yeah.
So, and I know we play Chicago on Wednesday. I think is our opener.
Okay. Yeah.
And then correct. I forgot who our other opponent is before we come back home.
I don't know.
It's an Eastern Conference team.
I'm so excited for Thunder basketball, bro. I'm so excited to turn my TV on every night and watch Thunder basketball.
Wednesday night, man, at the United Center in Chicago. Watch Shea cross up Zach LaVine. And Ayo Dosunmu.
Who are the Bulls' point guard? Who's the Bulls' starting point guard?
Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. Who'd they sign? They signed someone in free agency. Some mid vet. Not Patrick Beverly.
He's in Philly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care about the Bulls.
Oh, Javon Carter, but he gave us the money last year.
He did. He
Javon Carter gave us 33 last year.
Yeah,
so
I
watch
remember.
out for Javon Carter.
Was that when he was on the Bucks and nobody played?
Yeah, he was on the Bucks and no one played. And
yeah, he went off.
Freaking dropped 37 on us.
Yeah. I wrote down Giannis' contract, but there's not really much to talk about that. Other than that, it is fucking crazy that you can make $62 million a year. But I was curious, why was it only 3 years? Like, why not just give him the 5 like everybody else be getting?
It's a great question.
Do you realize how much money $62 million a year is?
That's just his contract, let alone his Nike deals and all these sponsorships and all this stuff.
So there's 12.
He's probably making $90 million a year.
There's 12 months in a year. Let's see what that is. So he's making $5.1 million a year.
Do his game check.
So
62 mil divided by 82. If he played all 82 games. This is just regular season. Then playoffs is another check.
Oh, I need to do 62 million. My bad.
Wait, is that per year?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Divide by 82.
756.
$756,100.
No, that's 100,000. No, I'm
756,000.
756,000. Yeah.
750. Bruh. That's crazy.
That doesn't matter if he plays though.
Yeah.
He's going to sit on the bench either way. And he'll rest a few times.
Oh, speaking of Giannis, did you see that clip of Thanasis bricking a layup at the end of a
preseason game? Yeah, I saw something and it was like, Thanasis better wake up and thank God every day that his brother's Giannis because he'd be in Taiwan.
Bro.
But like that's what I'm saying, bro. There's no reason Thanasis should be on a roster and Keon Johnson shouldn't.
He's just there because Giannis is there. Like he's just there to
make Giannis happy.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you have a player like that, that's understandable. You got to do what you got to do, but
I don't know, man.
Astros Rangers game 7 tonight. Who you got?
Rangers.
I'm going Rangers.
Rangers 4-2.
I'm going Rangers. Fuck the Astros. Fuck the Astros.
Rangers 4-2.
Adolis Garcia's a dog, bro.
He has 3 games straight with a home run.
Yeah. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Appreciate y'all listening. Subscribe to the Press Room on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And we will see you next episode. Peace.